I don't really know what to call it, to be honest with you. Mercedes was a little bit behind in the media technology at that point in time. This would be my third R-Class. So, like I said, love-hate relationship.
It's a pretty nice rocket ship for 202,000 miles.
Hey everyone, welcome back to DC Motorworks. Today we've got in front of us an R-Class, and today we're going to discuss why this is one of the most underappreciated models that Mercedes-Benz has produced. So this is one of our latest acquisitions. This was actually recommended to us by a friend of ours. Just couldn't see it go to the auction or wholesalers or whatever. So they said, hey, do you want it? It's got an issue with the air conditioning and the dealer can't fix it because there's no parts available. So here it is. I can't pass up a good deal. And this isn't my favorite iteration of the R-Class. This is an R320 CDI. So this is a diesel variant, which we'll do another video on the 642 engine, which is the 3-liter V6 diesel that this is equipped with, and why it is not my favorite engine. But I digress, because we're going to talk just about the chassis, which is the R-Class, also known as the 251 chassis in internal Mercedes code. But this was what they called their Sports Grand Tour, I believe is what the actual press material called it. But this was their 6 or 7-seater minivan, wagon. I don't really know what to call it, to be honest with you. I think everyone at the tag office and everything calls it a minivan. Doesn't have the sliding doors, which is actually one of the things I don't like about the R-Class, because as you can see here, the doors are absolutely massive. So if you have kids like I do, my wife drove one of these for a while, and the biggest concern is once your kids get older, they have a tendency to just fling the door open. And with a door that big, you can see how far it sticks out. So if you're in a tight parking lot or anything, it's actually really difficult to get in and out of, because you will hit what's next to you. And another thing is that with these really large rear windows, if you have the windows down in this, it makes awful buffeting and whistling, and it was kind of a downfall of this. But the upside to that is, look at the amount of room you get, and this is with my 6'2" self driving, that you still get more room than an ML, a GL, arguably even an S-Class. So for not a lot of money, it was a very utility friendly. It's a super easy height to get in and out of. You can see the passenger seat folds forward there for easy access to the third row. And this one is actually equipped with the rear air conditioning, which you can see by that dash or air vent that's there. Most of them did not have this option, and that was actually the failure in this car. I'll put in a little snippet here that I took. We've already fixed it since, but the rear AC lines, which run from about here down the bottom of the car, all along down the bottom, up into the rear evaporator unit, which is up in here. There was a little pinhole in the aluminum tube right about there under the driver's door, and it was puking Freon out of there, and it's not available from the dealer anymore, unfortunately. That is kind of an issue with the 251 R-Class, is they were only made from 2006 through 2012 model years, so not a lot of production on these. So I don't think they keep a lot of parts around for them. I have run into that a lot with the 251 R-Class specific parts. But here in the independent world, we were able to remove that line, and we took it to a line hose repair specialist, and they were able to braze the aluminum and fix that hole. And now we have nice cold AC front and rear. If we weren't able to do that, we thought about just blocking off the rear AC and making it just like it didn't have that option anymore. So that was our kind of backup plan. But this is one of the nicest examples you will see, probably. It has a shocking 210,000 miles on it. And I don't call that shocking because I don't think they can get there. I call that shocking because this is a one-owner vehicle that honestly looks like it has 80,000 miles or maybe less. If you just take a general look at the condition, it is very nice. Has a lot of these were just family workhorses. and were not very well cared for. We have seen a lot of terrible ones, but there are still some good ones out there because these were kind of a love or hate relationship, and I think that's the big story behind the R-Class's failure, is that it's not a very attractive thing to look at. If you come around to the front here, it just has a very awkward kind of look to it. I don't really know how to explain it or what to call it, but usually the people that had them love them because of the space and so forth, but people that just know them from afar, they're just kind of the ugly duckling of the Mercedes world. We'll plug in, when they did the facelift, and it was 2010? No, 2011. 2011, 2012 models, if my memory serves me right. They updated the front end with some nicer looking headlights, and like I said, we'll plug a picture in somewhere, but they were much more attractive at that point. And I think if they had started with that, they would have sold a lot better. So these were offered initially as an R350 and an R500. You were able to get a V8 minivan back in 2006 and 2007 model year, which is super exciting. And also, a very rare unit is the single year only R63 AMG that is equipped with my very loved M156 engine, which we'll talk about that engine somewhere up in here if you're not familiar with that. But I think there was somewhere around 40 or 80 units of those made, so they're super rare, and they actually bring a pretty big price premium. To have a 6 to 7 seater 500 horsepower minivan is pretty exciting. And actually for the export models, we only got the 500 and the 63, but they also did an R550 with the M273 engine, which we've talked about right up here as well. But you can get a 382 horsepower V8 R-Class. But we didn't get that one here after the 2007 model year. All we got was the R350 with the 6-cylinder, which was okay. They're kind of slow, but they do the job for family duty. So another couple things special about the R-Class before we go for a quick test drive is this was the only SUV model at the time that was offered with a panoramic roof, which is actually quite expansive in the R-Class. You can see it goes all the way back to the third row, and they do tend to break, but I still think it's super nice. And you know, of course, it does have an automated shade so that you can close it back up if it gets too hot. But you can see we've got our 2 full seats in the third row here, and even if I get myself back here, we'll show you that it does have a pretty decent amount of space. I said this one is super clean. We went for a team lunch today, so I made sure to protect it as it was raining here in Georgia today, and I didn't want to get our light gray carpet all gross, because if you look at this carpet, the original owner had all the rubber floor mats in here, and these were never used, so they're essentially brand new. But here we are, one motion, and look at this. I'm a little over 6 feet, and I got plenty of room for everything I want to do. And these second row seats do also move forward and backward if you want a little more leg room in the front end. And then I will ask camera guy to let me out here. But see, I've even got some headroom up here. I mean, I can touch the roof a little bit, but compared to some of the full-size SUVs of the time, and even today, you know, adults are knees to chest, and so these are pretty amazing. And like I said, super easy to get in and out of other than the large doors. You even get a little bit of cargo area back behind you with the third row seat up, but it does also fold flat. And you see, seat slides back. You get as much room or more as an S-Class, as I said earlier. Just because it is that exciting, we'll talk about it again. You can see this one is a 4MATIC model. So initially they were only offered in 4MATIC all-wheel drive, but later they did offer a couple years, I think it was 2008 and 2009, you could get 2-wheel drive, but then it became all-wheel drive only again, because it wasn't a very commonly chosen option. For my personal R-Class, I have actually converted it to 2-wheel drive. We're working on the video for that, but I am now, this would be my third R-Class. So, like I said, love-hate relationship, and let's see if I can remember how to do this. There we go. So one quick motion, just pull the handle, it releases the seat bottom. If it springs up, there we go. And then you get a flat load floor with plenty of space. So you get options. And you see your lift gate, get plenty of height here. I mean, I got, what, 6 inches a foot above me. God dang. This one will need some lift supports in the rear. If the power lift gate senses it's falling too quickly, it'll make it go back up. So you have to kind of like provide some resistance, otherwise it'll go back up. But you can see this one is also equipped with the rear air. So they were standard with just rear air springs, so they're load leveling. If you put a bunch of stuff in the rear, a bunch of people like we did for lunch today, it will adjust itself so it's still kind of pumped up from that. But my other one that I have is actually a 4-corner air suspension with adaptive damping. And I think these have one of the best rides, even arguably better than an S-Class, and much better than an ML or GL. So with that said, let's go for a ride and check it out. We'll get to hear that sweet clatter of that 642 diesel engine. So we're gonna go for a quick ride in the R320 CDI. See, I did remember to put on my seatbelt before we started filming today, so we don't have to listen to that sweet seatbelt chime. But with our recent fix, you can see we have some nice cold air conditioning. And we do have the 3-zone automatic climate control because this one is equipped with the rear air package. So you can always tell the difference because they have this little screen here. The standard AC does not have that. But so you get your driver, passenger, and your rear controls. So if you want to control the rear, you just hit that button first. But I just keep it all in the same temperature. If you hit the mono button, it changes all 3 at the same time. And one little neat trick is you can change the coding in the climate control module that if you hit the window lockout button, it will lock out the rear AC controls also. So if you have kids like me and you want to be the don't touch the thermostat dad like I do, that is a nice little feature. But hopefully you can tell here how quiet the R-Class is. And again, I kind of harp on that it's arguably almost like a lifted S-Class because it is the most legroom, it's super quiet. It is arguably, especially with the adaptive damping, like I said, rides as smooth, if not better, than an S-Class. And you get all the stuff that people like today, which is the higher seating position, easier to get in and out of, and so forth. And you can hear a little bit of the diesel clatter, but the kind of benefit, this is actually arguably better than the R350s I have and have had in the past, is that it has a lot more torque, as the R-Class is pretty heavy, and the gasoline V6 can feel a little anemic at times, but the turbo diesel here, once you get into the boost, it pulls pretty nicely. And I've heard of people getting 28 miles to the gallon with these, which when diesel is around the same price as gas, or 20-30 cents more, it is pretty attractive to have one of these. And here cruising, we're just quiet and comfortable. And it is equipped just like a ML or GL of the time. Some of these, the diesels were usually equipped a little better than the 350s. Not quite as nice as the V8 models, but like I said, those were so short-lived anyway here in the US. But this one's equipped with the memory seats. It has the Harman Kardon sound system, quarter vent windows, folding mirrors. You have your old outdated navigation system, so not very useful anymore, but you can hook your phone to it and have at least Bluetooth calling. You do not get Bluetooth music, but it was 2007. You can't ask too much of it. Mercedes was a little bit behind in the media technology at that point in time. It may have a multimedia cable. No, it does not. But we do have our original owner's manual there, which has a bunch of information. Like I said, this is a one-owner vehicle. We've actually got a binder full of every service record since new, which when we get back to the shop, we will show you that. Because we do plan on moving this car along We thought about putting it in our loaner fleet, but as you can see, it is kind of too nice for that, I think. And also, I don't feel very brave about using a loaner car that's a diesel, as I feel it would be returned with gasoline in it more often than not. I know Andy has they had a diesel E-Class as a loaner car when he was at the dealer years and years ago, and he said about every time it went out on loan, whenever it came back, it came on a tow truck, because everyone always put gas in it. So not so sure about that, but we will find a good home for it. Maybe one of y'all will like it if it's not gone already by then. And we did just have a new website built, and we are going to make a little sub page of all the vehicles we have for sale, or that will be for sale in the future. So I'll make sure cameraman puts a link in the video somewhere so that you can find that. But even here, we go through some of the twisties. It's another thing I like about the R-Class, because it is lower to the ground, and Mercedes kind of pitched this one a little more car-like than the ML and the GL, but it still has a lot of influence from those cars because it's kind of built on the same chassis. But you get different transmission drive modes. You get the comfort and standard, which this was the only of the trio to get that. The SUV's got the off-road mode. And so, like I said, it's a nice blend of the car and the SUV, so it does handle very well. I've taken mine on a mountain run before, and it did just fine, other than the kind of lack of power. Like I say, here with the turbo diesel, if you put a nice tune on it, it does wake it up quite well. I'm just not a big fan of the turbo lag, but once it kicks in, all the torque does get you going pretty well. It is only about 215 horsepower, but for a family hauler, you really want the torque, and just get you off the line quickly and get you up to speed, and then once you're cruising, it's perfectly fine. You see we have all kinds of storage here. You get your ashtray and everything there, because this is a German car. Nice little storage compartment there. I guess you'd call that the sunglasses compartment, because Benz is never really good about putting a glasses compartment up above you like is very common in American and other vehicles. You've got a very large center console here, 2-stage, so that's your old school Bluetooth module. So in the early days of Bluetooth with Mercedes-Benz, the Bluetooth capability was not built into the actual radio unit. So it would have this external module that you could actually remove, if I remember how. I know it's that. There you go. So it's almost like an old phone in and of itself, but it's not. All this does is connect to your actual cell phone. And they still work to this day, so you can still hook your modern iPhone or whichever to it. I think I have an iPhone 13, and it still works with the old Bluetooth module, so super neat stuff there. And it just plugs right in, and it's neat to turn it on. You actually hit the Mercedes button. If you hold it there, see, it'll start flashing at you. And that's how you start the pairing process. So, and it's pretty neat looking with the silver and blue, you know, so they made an effort to make that look pretty neat. More special stuff about the R-Class. I know that's kind of becoming repetitive, but it is the point of this video. So if you pull out your insert from your cup holder here, it is actually a bottle opener. And it's metal, and it's also a business card holder. If you check that out. And then a third use of it is that when it's removed, that's where you put your Mega Gulp bladder buster. So even in a German vehicle, they thought of it all in the R-Class, that us Americans like our large drinks. And so you can get your bladder buster there instead of on all this nice light gray interior. So you can see Benz even went into the engineering to make sure these are timed properly so that they both finish closing at the same time. So the rear one starts first because it is longer, and then the front one starts, and they end up being timed together, which can be a little challenging also, because you have to make sure when you're repairing this, not if, when, is that you have to make sure you get it all timed properly. I actually just did that last year in my R-Class, so hopefully it doesn't break again anytime soon. But let's go ahead and go inside and see what the guys have to say about the R-Class. So this is the binder that came with the R-Class. You can see I've even got the second key tucked away nicely here. And we have stacks and stacks of records, like I said, all the way back to 6,000 miles. We even have the receipt where he bought the, I forget what do you call them, the old brake dust shields, which we'll throw in a picture. We've already taken them off, obviously, but we'll show you a picture of those. They are a blast from the past, but all the records and everything, which is super exciting about a nice one-owner car, even with the miles that it has on it. But with that said, let's go ahead and get a shop take and see what everyone else in the shop thinks about the R-Class. All right, Andy. We just finished our video on the R-Class, so what's your take?
It's a pretty nice rocket ship for 202,000 miles.
Just R-Class in general, what do you think?
They're nice minivans.
That's all you got? Okay, that's all he's got. Paul?
If you'd like a very nice low-budget vehicle that is probably one of the smoothest Mercedes out there, that's the one to get.
What do you think about the 642? Oh, sorry, 642.
Oh, I love a 642, but you're going to do all the oil leaks, timing chain, everything else. It's just
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
on the list of repairs.
This one's already had it done.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Twice. Evan? All right, we just finished the R-Class video. What is your thoughts on the R-Class?
That R-Class is an anomaly. 209,000 miles, and it looks like it has 20,009 miles. It's a pretty cool car.
R-Class in general?
R-Class in general, it's the better GL.
See?
Yep.
See, I think the consensus is the same here. Thank you, Evan. So that concludes our day with the ugly duckling of Mercedes-Benz's lineup. But like I said, we think this is the best of the trio, or at least underappreciated of the trio of the ML, GL, and the R-Class. And if you're looking for a great family hauler, we think this is one of the best options. And we thank you all for watching today. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.